Wild World Thursday is where we look at the planet and say, hold up, that is real? Wild World Thursday is for the stuff hiding in plain sight. Space weather, strange animals, trees doing quiet work underground, oceans glowing in the dark, storms throwing electricity across the sky. Not internet rumor facts, not fake did you know nonsense. We are keeping it useful, weird, and true. So here's the deal. Every Thursday, we're going to take something from nature, space, animals, weather, oceans, trees, or the Earth itself and explain it in normal person language. Because the world is already wild enough, we do not have to make things up. And today, for the first Wild World Thursday, we're starting with a simple idea. Earth is way stranger than most people think. Let's start under your feet. When you look at a forest, you see trunks, branches, leaves, and maybe a squirrel acting like it owns the place. But under the soil, there's another world. Tree roots can form partnerships with mycorrhizal fungi. That word basically means fungus root. The fungi spread through the soil like tiny living extensions of the root system. They help take up water and nutrients and move them toward the plant. In return, the plant gives the fungi sugars made from photosynthesis. So no, we're not saying trees are sitting out there having a group chat like teenagers. But forests are not just a bunch of separate trees standing next to each other either. There is a living, underground partnership helping move resources through the soil. That changes the way you look at a tree. It's not just wood and leaves. It's part of a whole system. And if you're the kind of person who likes planting trees, that's the lesson right there. You're not just planting an object. You're adding one more living piece to a bigger network.
Now let's go from the dirt to the deep ocean. There are parts of the ocean where sunlight never reaches, and somehow the place still lights up. That is bioluminescence. NOAA defines it as the production and emission of light by a living organism. In normal words, some living things can make their own light through chemical reactions inside their bodies, or even by ejecting light-producing material. Fireflies do it on land. In the ocean, it is way more common than people think. Some animals use light to warn predators. Some use it to confuse predators. Some use it to lure prey. Some may use it to communicate with others of the same species. That means the deep ocean is not just dark and empty. It is more like a blacked-out city where some of the signs are alive. Imagine being a predator swimming through the dark and your next meal suddenly flashes like a burglar alarm. Or imagine being prey and the thing hunting you carries a glowing lure in front of its face. That is not science fiction. That is Earth. Now, jump from ocean darkness to a thunderstorm. Lightning is one of those things everybody has seen, but most people do not really think about. NOAA calls lightning a giant spark of electricity in the atmosphere between clouds, the air, or the ground. Inside thunderstorms, ice particles and small hail-like particles can collide. Those collisions help separate electrical charges in the storm. Once the charge difference gets strong enough, the atmosphere gives up and you get lightning. And thunder? Thunder is not a separate thing. Lightning causes thunder. The lightning channel heats the air extremely fast, and that air explodes outward as a pressure wave. By the time it reaches you, your ears hear that pressure wave as thunder. So when you hear thunder roll across the sky, you're hearing the atmosphere react to a blast of electricity. That is wild. And practical note, because we're not stupid around storms. If you can hear thunder, treat the storm like it can reach you.
Now look up even higher. Auroras, the northern and southern lights, are not just pretty sky curtains. They are space weather made visible. NASA explains that the sun continuously sends out charged particles called the solar wind. Earth has a magnetic shield, and most of that solar wind is deflected. But some energy gets stored and released into the upper atmosphere near the poles. When energetic particles collide with atoms and molecules in the atmosphere, those atoms and molecules can glow. That glow is the aurora. The color depends on what kind of gas gets hit and where it is in the atmosphere. Green is common because of oxygen. Nitrogen can help produce blues, pinks, and purples. So the next time you see a photo of the northern lights, do not just think, that looks cool. Think about this. You're looking at the sun, Earth's magnetic field, and the upper atmosphere all interacting at once. The sky is showing you the machinery. Now for something small enough that you could miss it completely. Tardigrades. People call them water bears, which sounds cute, and honestly, they do look like little 8-legged gummy bears under a microscope. NASA has studied tardigrades in space because these microscopic animals can survive conditions that would destroy most living things. They can enter a state where their life processes shut way down. They pull in their legs and head and curl into a structure called a ton. When water comes back, they can uncurl and become active again. NASA has sent tardigrade studies to the International Space Station to learn how they adapt to microgravity and spaceflight conditions. That is not just because water bears are weird. Studying how tough little organisms survive stress may help scientists understand ways to protect astronaut health on long missions. So, a tiny animal in moss or soil can end up teaching us something about space travel. That is the kind of thing I love about Wild World Thursday. The small stuff is not small when you understand what it is doing.
Put all of this together, and Earth starts looking different. A tree is not just standing there. It is tied into soil, fungus, water, sugar, and survival. The ocean is not just blue water. It is full of living lights, signals, lures, warnings, and creatures we are still trying to understand. A thunderstorm is not just rain. It is ice, charge, heat, pressure, electricity, and sound. An aurora is not just a pretty sky. It is the sun brushing against Earth's magnetic shield. And a microscopic water bear is not just a weird little creature. It is a survival machine that scientists can learn from. That is what Thursdays are going to be. Not random facts just to sound smart. Facts that make you look at the world a little different when you walk outside. You hear thunder, and now you know the sky just cracked with electricity. You see a tree, and now you know part of its story is happening underground. You look at the ocean, and now you know darkness does not mean empty. You see the northern lights, and now you know the sun is involved in that show. You hear about some tiny animal in a drop of water, and now you know NASA might care about it. That's the whole point. The world is not boring. We just get used to it. And every Thursday, we are going to break that habit. This is No Voltage Veteran. This is Wild World Thursday. And the first lesson is simple. Earth is not ordinary. We're just usually moving too fast to notice.